Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another class. Give me a second. Let me confirm if everything is fine on my side. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another class. Give me a second. Okay, so everything looks cool. So in the today's question, we'll keep solving our questions and we'll be solving question 19. So the question 19, again, I know that I promise you that coding is not all about math. There is other stuff to do, but in real world, when you're doing business, it's very common to need to do some basic math. So is what I told you, and then I want you all to feel confident. Remember, I told you the four basic operation, percentage, and integer division. We need to know that very well because we're gonna use a lot. So let's try to understand what the requirements are or requirement is. Remember, never underestimate that. Doesn't matter how good you are, how much experience you are. If you don't pay attention to requirements, you do silly mistakes. Mistakes you're gonna do all the time, okay? So let's see. The question is, read the description, quantity, and unit price of three products in a shopping cart and print the total sales tax and the total order amount. And here you say that the sales tax is 12%. So this is a very common problem that every online store has to deal with. So you still learn better ways to do that in the future. We don't learn yet some important like base concept, but I want you all to be good on those basic ones. Let me just do something like this. Let me increase the size here. Boom. Okay, so let's go. Remember, always think like this. We're gonna have our code here on the right side. Whatever you're gonna do, always start by some drawing, some way to create a model representation of mental representation of the problem, like use your imagination, draw, and then let's see how we can solve it. So remember, we're gonna think of what is our input. Our input will be read the description, quantity, and unit price of three products. So will be something like this. 3 times description, quantity. Hey, Benjamin. Well, this is a good friend of mine. I know him back in Brazil when he was still a kid. And I inspired him to become a software engineer. And now he is a professional. I moved to Canada. He moved to Canada 3 years after I moved there. I moved to the US. He moved to the US like 3 years after I moved here. And now we both are living in the US. Quantity and price. So this is our input. We have to somehow store the description, quantity, and price of three products. So we're gonna have like three variables for description, product one, product two, product three for quantity, and three for price. Remember, wherever we're gonna store, we need a variable for it. It's the basic unit for coding. Like is our raw material is variables. What is our output? Then let's put something here like what is our output? And he only joined because I was within the phone. Like we talk time with time. And then I thought, oh, I'm gonna drop because I have a class. Oh, I check out your class. He's gonna do auditing. He's gonna let me know if he was my student as well. Back in Brazil 20 years ago, I think. So what is our output? Here say and print the total sales tax and the total order amount. So it will be total amount and total tax. So this is what will give as output. We need to know here that we are using the sales tax is 12%. So basically, we already learned about that. We had a class to calculate percentage. So it's easy. Percentage is divided by 100. Whatever I have to do percentage is per 100. So whatever the number was, divided by 100 and multiply for whatever you want to calculate that percentage of. So to make easier, we could put here like one box for each variable. I can go something like this. This would be our like description one. Let's be like lazy here, description one. Then another variable for quantity is quantity. I put just quantity. And then another one for price. For price. And I will give those names: description one, quantity one, let me save some space here. And let me do this. So we have those three variables. Let me put P as capital here, like the other one. We need like three of those. So we already have one. You copy and paste. One. Oops. And and 3. So we have like one description for product 1, one description for product 2, and so on. So let me just speed up this here. Okay. So it has to be clear in our mind. Wherever we need to deal with, we have to have a variable for it. Later on, we'll learn better way to create those variables. There are more like complex way to deal with information, but until there, everything that we need to store has to be one variable. Okay? And then, okay, how can we, let me just do something like this. I will create a little space here. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna do some math here. It will be like, let's put like multiply here. And let's get this guy, and I move it all the way here. Because for each product, we have the quantity and we have the price, unit price. So we have to multiply then to get the total price. Do you agree with me? The other one here, the other one here. So once we have all this multiplication, we will be able to, where is the line? Draw here. We will be able to get this. And then we have the total of the shopping cart or the invoice, whatever, before tax. So this would be great if we could just sell and cash in all the amount. However, every company has a big partner that we need to give money. So we need to get those 12% and calculate from this. So you have the sales tax. And now the final value, because we need to charge our customer that tax, so then we can give that tax to the government. Otherwise, we would be paying tax out of our pocket. Is that why wherever you go, that you buy something, there is always a tax, and the receipt has to show to make sure that we understand how much of the money we are paying goes to the establishment, how much goes back to the people, go back to the government. And then they use that money for a better society. Okay? So we'll have to calculate here the sales tax. Let me just do this here so it's easy for us. Oops, sorry, not this. I want to select this guy and move it here. So when we do this, we're going to have the sales tax amount. Once you have the sales tax amount, we can just add to the total amount before tax, and we know how much will be the sales tax in the total of the order. Remember that was asked to us to tell, okay, how much is the total sales tax? So we have to calculate it. Then we can print and then print the total amount. What I'm trying to do here is, for someone that's already a developer, this is very easy and they will never stop to do this thing. But I want you, as you are learning, to pay attention to the detail. Doesn't matter how simple it is, keep that in your mindset. Every problem I will try to break down in small steps, that small steps can be translated to coding later on. Because if you jump the guns and you don't do this, probably you're going to be lost in your solution. You'll not be able to evaluate the trade-offs or find a good solution. You may find a solution that maybe is not a good one. Okay? So, however, we don't need to be hours and hours here. We have to at least spend some time to clarify what are the steps that we need that are compatible with our programming language that can help us solve this. And once we have that idea, then we start to do the coding. And here does not tell us if we're going to read the 3 description, 3 quantity, and 3 unit price. Probably not. Usually we read like 1 product, 3 fields, the second product, the 3 fields, and the third product, 3 fields. I want you all to see what is going on, because later on we will learn about repetition and better data structure that will make this easier. But now, remember, we are learning the basics. So it's nice to have this pain and see how to do like without extra resources. Okay. So let's go. The first thing we say, okay, description 1. This is a string. I can just say input, and then here description. The text is product 1 description. Let me do this. Now let's get the quantity 1. One thing that here I put only QTE because I didn't want to spend a lot of space here. But in the coding, I advise you to don't be, it's kind of a balance. You don't need to put a name like this variable is going to be used to store the quantity of product 1. But maybe only QTE, maybe it's going to be hard to understand this later on. So I suggest to use some full words that make easier to understand. So we're going to say quantity 1. And we know that quantity 1, at least in a product card, usually as an integer. But remember, maybe we are selling stuff that you can buy 1.5 meters, 1.3 kilos. So remember, it's not up to us to define the types of those variables. We have to ask. We have to confirm. Most of the time when you guess, we get guess wrong. I already saw all kind of different things. So if you are doing an interview, ask, oh, can I assume that the quantity is integer? If the interview said yes, okay, you clarify. Remember, if you ask and someone else don't ask, you're gonna have more credit. The same, if you're working in a company, make sure the kind of the business that your company does and what kind of product they sell. Let's assume that in this case, has to be an integer. We are selling like computer parts. There is no 1.5 CPU. You buy everything, okay, in a book. So will be an integer, and then I can say input, and then I'll put the text. Quantity, product, one, quantity. And I already realized, oh, I forgot to do this, to put some space here. And then will be the price one, and price one probably will be a float. And then I'll put an input, and our input will be product one price. Now that I'm ready to read for one, I will just copy and paste. This we'll learn later on how to do in a way that we don't need to do this, but learn this way first. So now I have to remember to replace everywhere. Otherwise, if I forgot, I will keep a bug here. So I have to imagine that I do here, but I forgot to change in those description. That will be kind of strange, you know? And whatever you do, doesn't matter how simple it is, test it. So we can stop here and let's see if at least this part is working. Let me make this thing here. I will do this. No, I move this here a little bit. So we can do the bug and this go back there. So description one, I just put some prod one. I put like 3 and the price will be 123.45. And now description 2, and then we can look in the variables. Oh, it's not showing the variables yet. Oh, okay, I'm done. I didn't put a breakpoint, so we are not seeing what is going on. Let me put a breakpoint here, so then you can watch and inspect each variable. So let's run it. And then we are the first line. Let's go over. Let me put a breakpoint here. And then let's go over, just in case if I just let it run. Go over, and then I will call here like prod one. Oops. Now let's go over, and what is the key for the F10? Quantity one, let's say 3, and then I hit F10. Price 123.87. Oops, I typed the wrong place. 123.89. Now F10 again. Description of, and then I can, oh, I have to be there. So prod 2. See, I can check now. Did the description one went to the right place? Yeah, I have description one, product 2. Oh, description 1, description 2, prod 1, and quantity 1. Now we read the quantity 2. Let's put like quantity 2 here, like 5. So far so good. And now F10 again. Price, let's say 10.45. 10.45. So it's very important to pay attention, because if we did a bad copy and paste, I could still have price 1 here, and that would be like a bug. And now let's let it go. Description 3. description 3 went to the right place. Now let's get the quantity 3, let's say 2. And now quantity is 2. And then let's get the last one, that is price. Let's say 67.34. And of course, I didn't see the last one, but I could put something else in a breakpoint just to see. But let's imagine that everything is fine. So I recommend you break down your coding testing piece. Don't write a full program and then think about to test it. Go slow testing everything. Okay? So now let's see what we need to do. Well, we need to calculate the total amount before tax. So we could say, how they call here was total order amount. So we could say total amount before tax. So this guy will be quantity 1 multiplied by price 1. And there is something in Python that is strange. We need to do, if like, I don't want to do this, like plus, and then I'd say, okay, quantity 2 multiply by price 2. Do you see how our program is growing to the side? Then quantity 3 multiply by price 3. So this is not good. So it would be nice if I could do something like this, no? Look, would look better. But Python is fun. Most of the language that I know, you can do this without any problem. But Python is say, oh, there is this here. And let's see, view problem is going to show this, is not give me any solution. But in Python, when this happens, oh, I guess it's this. We can just say this. Because Python is kind of a different language. What we are saying here is that, okay, this line does not end here. I want to continue in the next line. C#, Java, Kotlin, Scala, JavaScript, TypeScript, all the other language, you don't need to do this because the compiler, you know what you are trying to do. So in Python, if one statement go multiple line, you have to put this. Cool? So now we have the total amount before tax. But we were asked about the total order amount. So total order amount is how much you're going to charge our customer. So we need to calculate what's the sale tax. So I say here that sales tax will be, we know that is 12%. So it will be 12 divided by 100 multiply by total before tax. So we want to calculate like 12% of this. Let me do this here. A question. We want to multiply those and then add. Why I'm not obligated to do this? That is a good question. This looks better if we put the parentheses, because I want to make sure, oh, I first want to multiply, then I want to add. This is not needed. Some people like to put it to make clear what is happening, because all programming languages follow the mathematical arithmetic priority, operator a priority. So multiplication and division has a higher priority than addition. I don't need to do this. Sometimes I do just to make it clear, because we want to do the multiplication, then the addition. Cool? So this is the type of the math that whoever is going to do coding has to know right away. So if it's not clear for you, I was a professor for 10 years, a little bit more, and I got a student at the university that didn't know how to calculate percent. I have to stop the class to explain. If you don't know, watch some class and then review and pay attention. It's easy. Is whatever percentage you want is divided by 100 and multiply by whatever value you want. And then remember, you need to test. So now we're going to say, okay, I know what is the sale tax. From my total amount before tax, I have to calculate now the total amount, total order amount, or total amount, will be the total amount before tax plus sales tax. Because this is how much all our products multiplied by quantity cost, and then how much I have to collect from our customer to give to the government. Now that I have this, what we need to do, we need to print the sales tax and the total order. So we can come here and say print, and we can do a string interpolation, sales tax, that will be the variable sales. I put in the sales. Let's put sales here. I can right click and rename. So it's going to be renamed everywhere. And I could do in a different line. That will be the total, how they call, total order amount. Always try to use the same language, the same names as the business people told you to. Remember, someone is going to tell you the requirement. Total order amount, is that total order amount? And remember, if you are working, even something like this, ask for some, okay, could you give me some template, some example, or ask ChatGPT, or do the calculation by your hand. So make easy, because like it's 12%. So now let's do. I will clean up this to make it easier for us to, let me just delete this, and then I run it. Never trust your code. I remove the breakpoint from here. I want to go free all the way to our calculation here. So let it run. And then I will put here like description. Oops, description 1. Quantity 1, I put 3. Price 1, I put 10.5. And then description 2. Quantity 2, I put 2. And then price 12.75. And then description 3. Quantity 5. And then 2.45. Now we have all those numbers. So we'll get quantity 1 and multiply by price 1, quantity 2 multiply by price 2, quantity 3 multiply by price 3, and we will add everything. So now we know for each product how many is there, and then we're going to sum everything to calculate the total amount before tax. Let's go over this line. Okay, so that amount is 85.25. What I recommend, get a calculator and do the math. I'm not going to do here, but whoever wants to be a software engineer has to do the calculation itself, has to make sure that whatever your program is produced is correct. Okay? we maybe could do by our, we can even have an idea. Look, 10.5 multiplied by 3 is around 31.5. And then 12 multiplied by 2 is like 41.5. And then 5 multiplied by 10. So it's around 80 something. So we know that it's not too much. If it was like 500, 200, we knew that something was wrong. And now what you're going to do, let's calculate 12% of this. A easy way to have an idea is 10% will be 8.5. So it will be something above 10%, or above 8.5, maybe 10 something, because 1% will be 8.5. Oh, 10% is 8.5. 1% is 0.8. So I would say, well, 12% is 10% plus 2. So if we go over here, we have an idea about where the number will be. See? 10.23. It's very important to at least make sure that there is no absurdity. There is no crazy numbers there. Now we're gonna get, okay, what is the total amount? Where is the total amount? Total amount before tax. Oh, come on, Jose. Is over here. Plus the sale tax. Then we have how much will you charge our customer. At least I know there is not crazy wrong. But please learn. As much as like happy you are doing the code, be happy doing the test. One thing I learned in my experience, good developers, of course, are the one that can do some code, but are the one that test as well to avoid mistakes to go ahead. I would trust more an engineer that do good testing than one that just build stuff. Hello. Okay, so we now will print sales tax, and then I will print. Look, I did this my purpose. If I didn't test, I will not see, instead of total order, I print the same sales tax. So here should be total amount. Some people say, well, instead of this big name, we could just say something like this. Before tax. It's fine. Or total before tax. Total amount is kind of redundant. Or amount before tax. So this is okay. We can reduce a little bit. Just remember to reorganize your identity to be like beautiful. Okay, so it's common that we finish and then you polish our solution, find better names, and we can just right click and rename to do things like that. So here, total amount, people diss that total and amount is kind of redundant. We could just say total. Could be, I agree. It's sometimes just a matter of preference. So what I would suggest you to do, test with different values. For example, let's do this. I run now, and I will do something that is very simple for us to test. I will put here like description 1, and quantity I will put 10, price I will put 1, description 2, quantity I will put 80, price I will put 1, and then I go to description 3, quantity I will put 10, price 1. So now look, it's interesting because my total amount, if I didn't do a silly mistake, let me put a breakpoint here. Oops, here. Will be 100. And now it's easy for me because I know that 12% of 100 is 12. It's 12%, okay? So it's 12 of each 100. So now you see, okay, sales tax is 12, so our total amount will be 112. Sometimes you can do this to make easier, our life easier, but I recommend you to test as much as you can. Recently, I see my career, engineer that is strong on testing are the one that grow faster. Because no one want an engineer that lets silly mistake go because it's very expensive to fix mistakes. It's better to take longer to finish something and finish well than do a lot of things fast with bugs that is going to bite us a lot. Cool? Okay, so I hope I clarified this question for you. I hope percentage is clear in your mind. If it's not, go watch some YouTube videos. There is awesome videos there. Watch at least 5 of them and then make sure that calculate a percentage is easy. Percent per 100. So it's kind of something easy. Is how is 12 or even 100. So if it's 100, it's 12. If it's 200, it will be 24. If it's 300, it will be 36 because it's it's 12 for every 100. If you have 300, it will be 3 times 12. Cool? Welcome. God bless you. See you next class. Bye bye.